Elections 2014. A very special guest, Rajiv Pratap Rudy, joins me right here on Delhi Dialogue. Thanks a lot for being with us. You've just come back from a campaign. We wish you all the very best with the verdict. But we'll begin with what's really grabbing headlines at this moment, and that is the Election Commission, be it the ruling alliance or the opposition. Nobody seems to be happy with the election watchdog. The question that I want to ask a very candid young politician, I still call you young, amongst the plethora of 80+ people, is that, is it fair at one level to put the election watchdog in the dock?
Well, I do not know what you say. I have been contesting election for the last 30 years. This is my 9th election, and it's just been 24 hours ever since I have just moved out from Chhapra, because there were issues which had to be taken up in Delhi. Why do you say that there is a watchdog over politicians and they decide where to move, how to move, and what to do, what not to do, file expenses? Which democracy in the world expects the people who are going to be your representatives to file an affidavit that you are not a criminal, you are not a murderer, you are not a rapist? Which democracy in the world asks you to do that? And the political system which we have messed it up, we politicians. We have messed it up in such a way that for every wrong which happens during the electoral process, we are setting up one more authority or one more executive order. So this mess up is done by the politicians of this country. Why is it happening in the last 60 years? Is that for every step which goes wrong, we try to rectify it through an executive means. Why is it going wrong? Why does an election commission have to seize 110 crores in Andhra Pradesh before the elections? Why do you need 20 crores or 10 crores of money? The Indian political system, which is the Westminster parliamentary form of government, is transactory. You give me votes, I will represent your community. You give me votes, I will construct your roads. You give me votes, I will make your life happy. This is a transactory form of government, where there is very little accountability,
that's right,
where there is little delivery, and 65 years we have made a mess. And we shouldn't be getting upset with the Election Commission if it interferes, because we have created such a mess. So my view, I'm a politician from a grassroots. I contest Chhapra, which is a hotbed, and for the last 30 years,
right,
I've been an MLA, I've been an MP, and I'm still contest Lalu Prasad Yadav. I can speak English, but I can speak Bhojpuri also. I want to say that this flawed political system, the Westminster, is collapsed. People say that it's worked, but my appetite is for much more. And we have messed up with the political system. We have messed up with the country. We need a change of the political system if you want all that to be set right.
You know, I completely buy your point when you say that here are 543 people who are going to represent 1.2 billion Indians, and you put them in the dock all the time. That is the basic flaw. But right now, we have a system where the Election Commission is watching over elections. To keep questioning the commission all the time, is that scant disregard for that institution also?
No, but politics, we as politicians, we want to use the Election Commission to the best of our use. We want to harass the opposition. We want to put the government in the dock, or the state government. Election Commission is an authority. The execution is done through the state governments. So the state governments which are going in for elections have the district magistrates who are posted, and they have their loyalties. So this is a flawed system in which you are trying to get a proxy control over the executive through a commission which scares you out, which scares the officers out that if you do wrong, you will be behind bars. And it scares the it looks, when the Election Commission's role comes into play, it looks, I'm a member of parliament. But in the constituency, when the elections are declared, it looks as if I'm a culprit. I have to protect myself, and as if
you're constantly on your watch.
And as if I have lost my identity as an individual. So it's going both ways. And I fight it out with the Election Commission. When it's a wrong, I say, and I can tell you, Election Commission is reasonable. They understand the executive bit in between, the executive of the state, who have to handle the election. They have their own loyalties. Someone is loyal to Mayawati, someone is loyal to Mulayam Singh Yadav, someone is loyal to Lalu Yadav.
And those loyalties come into play.
And how can Election Commission handle it? So what goes wrong there is the loyalty of these politicians and the bureaucrats on caste basis to align with themselves. In Bihar, there are officers who have been posted in Chhapra. They have their loyalties to Nitish Kumar because they come from his caste.
Right.
There are other officers who come from the caste of Lalu Yadav. Are we running a democracy? Are we talking about this democratic process? And then we are saying that, look, wow, we tom this democracy and say, wow, what a great
so
country.
flawed, actually,
It's absolutely
structurally.
flawed, and no one is ready to discuss all this because it suits the political class. We as politicians, and I as a politician, we have created a back-to-back arrangement where it is all for me and myself.
You know, Mr. Rudy, I consider you candid because you admitted in the first go that it is the politician who's responsible for this. I'm going to ask you a counter question. This election started on a whole pro-development, anti-corruption plank. All political parties were talking about it. We saw something of an emergence of the Aam Aadmi Party just as a reference to anti-corruption. It has, by the end of the 8th phase, we see that elections have gone back to the pet theme. We are talking about caste. We're talking about communal politics. We have gone back to, personal attacks. Are you at one level disappointed with this discourse?
You see, when you talk about the Aam Aadmi, I think I have my own.
No, I just made a reference
to Aam Aadmi.
Right.
The emergence of Aam Aadmi Party was not on the philosophy of fighting corruption or governance or delivery. It was on the philosophy of hate politicians. Whatever is going wrong in this country is because of these politicians. So Aam Aadmi started on that plank, and they themselves started acting like politicians. So people gave them a drubbing and threw them out.
That's right.
So when you say we started on a corruption is an issue, but all this stems from the fact that you have a political system which allows such system to prevail.
Which almost encourages corruption.
Because the people who become MLAs and MPs successively they become MLAs and MPs, they become part of the government, they become ministers. So the person who makes a law becomes the implementer of law and becomes accountable for law.
Right.
How can this system, you have to create a political system where merit is the topmost. Here, merit is the last. It's caste, then class, then your geographical location, then your muscle, then money. How are you going to, merit is the last in this political system. So we have to devise a mechanism where elected political representatives cease to be executives. They can't become ministers, they can't hold executive positions. You have to segregate them. All this race to get into power, spend hundreds of crores to become an MLA MP and become a minister and become a boss and have a red beacon on the top, is because let legislators only legislate. And those who are elected as direct representatives, as CEOs, let them rule and be accountable after 5 years. We have to start thinking on these lines.
So you're talking about a complete overhaul of the system.
Yes,
this is
yes.
not going
I have
to
spent
last
30
us
years.
through.
Most of the people would talk about things. I'm indulging in it, and
you're actually willing to give up that
No, I'm
privilege
fed up. I
being-
know. I see it. I see it every day, and what is worst is I'm feeling helpless. And when I see the helplessness of those for last 65 years, they are still. Do you know? In my constituency, we talk of great things. Women, and it is 70% women in Chhapra, would wait from morning to evening to ease themselves because it's sunset to sunrise.
That's right.
Who is talking about them? And I have gone and asked for votes, but actually we are all frauding the system. It's just votes and nothing to do with a common man. Let it be A, B or C, I win or he wins or he wins. This system cannot deliver anymore, and we all have to admit this.